Well, seems like the winter finally has arrived here in the Central Europe, here in my native country of Lithuania, and I guess it was time to grab my camera gear and head outdoors and try to grab a few wintry shots, if you will. And I started with a few warm-up shots with some trees and stuff, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna find here, but I guess you don't know if you won't try. I'll try to walk around the park, see if I can find a little bit more interesting compositions here with some trees. Maybe I'll try to find some interesting remaining splashes of color that create some interesting contrast with the white snow and so on. So let's start our photo walk, shall we? Well, I didn't need to walk too far from the spot that I had my camera set just a minute ago, and I found this beautiful tree just a few meters away, and it still has a lot of orange leaves still hanging on, and the contrast between all this beautiful color and the white snow, it's really kind of eye-catchy. So it's a pretty straightforward shot, as I just set up with my 70mm f5.6 2-second timer, and here's the shot. Well, dang it, the only battery that I have for this Sony camera died when I was filming the last bit, so essentially I had to finish my filming session and head back home. Well, not really, not immediately. I still decided to finish off my photo walk here in this little park, and glad I did, because although it was kinda getting late and I wasn't able to finish filming anything, I still managed to find a few interesting, cool shots here. So I thought when the time is right, I'm going to come back, and now I'm going to know exactly the spots to go to grab some cool shots, if you will. Yeah, and my plan that day was to essentially, well, when the camera died, to head back home, recharge it, and then head back again the next day and finish off the filming. Unfortunately, the weather gods decided to change their mind, and the next day the sun came out and all the snow was essentially gone, melt away. So yeah, I wasn't able to finish the filming and I was kind of left with half the video. So yeah, essentially I had to wait patiently at home, and today here I am. After a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I am back, and it's snowing quite heavily, as you see, and the amount of snow that we have today is way more than what I had back then, and that makes the landscape a much more interesting, much more wintry, if you will, and I think it's much more picturesque. So chances of me getting some cool shots are a lot more in my favor, if you will. So let's start where we left off the previous time, and the plan is to photograph this kind of cute little bridge here in this small park here in Central Europe in Lithuania. So follow me and let's do some work. Unfortunately, because it is snowing quite heavily, so I'm using this waterproof camera cover to protect it from all the moisture. It's a bit tricky. I'm not a big fan of this particular cover, so it's very rigid and doesn't allow you to move freely with the camera, but I guess I'm just gonna have to work with it and see what I can come up with. So let's do this. Alright, so on to my subject number 2, which is, well, I just stepped out of this little woodland sort of area, and there is this kinda nice, cute, lonely tree right there by the side of the road. So it is a pretty straightforward shot, nothing too complicated. So I just set up my tripod and I decided I'm not gonna frame the whole of tree, because the problem is the sky is kinda a little bit, I think it's distraction. So I decided to sort of cut the top bit of the tree and just frame a little bit of ground covered in snow and sort of like half a tree, mostly just f5.6, and basically focusing on a tree bark. And yeah, it's an easy shot, and here's my image. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite happy with how efficient I am today. I guess I have to be thankful to myself that I've done all of this scouting before. And yeah, I guess that's a speedy photography. It didn't take too much time for me to find my next scene, my next composition, and it is rather magnificent. And it is really nice river surrounded by woodland from either side, and there is this beautiful yellow footbridge. So the composition again is rather straightforward. My 70 to 200 mm. I zoomed all the way in at 200 mm, set my aperture at f5.6 and fire away. Yeah, I wasn't sure should I go for vertical or horizontal composition, so I went for both. And then future me will decide which one I prefer best. But until then, enjoy the scenery and enjoy the images. So let's march on. Well, the daylight is pretty much going really fast. I don't have much time. It's 4:30, I believe. Probably got half an hour or so. Sony battery is almost dead as well. So I got just a couple of simple scenes to grab here, and my job here today is going to be over. Finally, I'll be able to head back home and have some dinner. So here's a couple of shots that I found previously when I was here. One is this beautiful white footbridge that goes in the distance, and I'm using all these branches to sort of frame it and create this beautiful nice scene with the bridge, some branches, and this lamppost. Nothing special, not some award-winning shot, but I think worth having one. So that's one in the bag. And my last shot is this birch tree and sort of lamppost and a snow-covered bench in the distance. Very simple, very minimalist scene, nothing too special again, but I do quite like the atmosphere, I do like the vibe. So here are my last couple of images. Upon returning from my photo walk, I had high hopes for the images I captured. But upon closer inspection on a large screen, the last one fell short of my expectations. The abundance of snow seemed to dull the scene, rendering the distant park bench indistinct and less striking. However,
A similar shot from a few weeks prior, taken during the filming of the video first segment with less snow, proved far superior. Indeed, sometimes less can be more.
By the way, the first half of this video was filmed in 2024 and now I'm filming in 2025. So I'm wishing everyone Happy New Year and I hope you had really brilliant Christmas time with your family and friends and all of that good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed this video, hope you enjoyed the images, and I'll see you on the next one, hopefully soon. See ya.